Hey everybody, and welcome to my next adventure. This is a little different than anything you've seen before because it will be my first live broadcast. And for this adventure, we actually will go to a nearby airport of Santa Paula. Um, they have their airport day every first Sunday of the month. So I will just go and see what people are doing out there. I'll try to broadcast on the way. Hopefully the cellular connection is good, and hopefully you enjoy it. The visibility today is not great. There is plenty of haze. It's going to be quite hot later in the day, but right now it's pleasant. For those of you who are keeping track, it's only 27 degrees Celsius. Only, I say. But the air feels cooler than that. So we'll see. Uh, I know it will be a pleasant flight, and I hope you enjoy it. Now, for those of you who would like to leave live comments, I don't know if I disabled them. That's my very first broadcast. So leave your comments. I definitely will not be able to respond to them in the air. I'm not even trying to read them. I'm not even looking at the screen, what's being broadcast. But after I land, after I go back to the office, I'll take a look and answer all the comments that you may leave. Anyway, so as it goes right now, we are taxiing at Whiteman Airport toward the takeoff point. And I'm going to listen to the weather in a second and ask for permission to taxi to the run-up area. All right, so stand by with me. All right, I don't know if you heard that. I'm not sure the communications are being translated into the live broadcast, but we have information. Charlie, the weather is good, and altimeter setting is 2996. Let me talk to the tower. Whiteman ground experimental gyroplane 202 Bravo Golf at fuel pumps. Request taxi to active with Charlie. 1 to the Alpha, 2 Bravo Golf. All right, so this is the tower. We just talked to the ground component. It's the same guy, actually. And we're taxiing down taxiway Alpha. So it appears its traffic pattern is busy. There are a couple airplanes doing touch and goes, which is good. I like busy airports. Busy airports means interest in aviation and more people to talk to while at the airport. Who nobody likes when the airport's ghost towns. And if you heard my other videos from my adventures, many times on Sunday you go to a small airport and there is nobody there. So I'm glad that there are people today that will be enjoying, will be committing aviation, as some people say. All right, I'm at the run-up area. I'm going to line up to the far corner here, so if there's an airplane behind me, they can have plenty of room. I don't need that much room. So somewhere right here, straighten the wheel, stop. All right, so now I'm going to do my run-up. And to do the run-up, we need to have, let's go to the checklist. All right, run-up checklist. Parking brake is set. Oil temperature is above 50 degrees Celsius. Fuel pump 2 is on. Right there. Throttle. All right, so engine gauges. We have engine RPM, oil pressure, oil temperature, water temperature. Everything is in a normal. So advance the throttle 3000. Squeezing the brake, of course. Right somewhere there. Mag 1 off, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and on. Everything's good. Mag 2 off, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and on. Everything is good. Now squeeze the brake. Let's go a little more power. And cut to idle. And the engine did not die, so that's a good sign. That concludes our run-up. Now, I'm going to do final preparations and move out to the hold short line. I may get quiet a little and maybe not pay attention to you too much, but takeoff is a fairly involved procedure, so you excuse me if this is where my concentration goes. All right? All right, so I'm going to go down to the before leaving the run-up area checklist. Garmin tracker, I don't use it for this short trip. iPad, I have my GPS set. Radio, radio goes to 135.0. 135.0, and the next anticipated frequency is 120.4. That's for the local approach control after I leave the confines of the airport. All right, transponder 1200, headset, last check, everything looks good, everything feels good, comfortable. Seatbelts are fine and set. And the next thing is close the door. Okay, so the door needs to be closed. We pull tightly on the door, we close it, the door is closed and verified. Fuel pump 2 is on, verified. Lights, I have the strobes on, I don't need anything else, it's in the middle of the day. Rotor brake release, stick block release. Now, as I release my blocks on a stick, what I want to do is I want to see if I have control over the rotor head, and in this case, I do. All right, so I'm gonna release the handbrake, and I'm gonna move forward to the hold short line right there. White Panther experimental gyroplane 202 Bravo Golf holding short runway 12 at Alpha. Request departure to the new hold pass. 12 clear for takeoff. Left downwind departure 2 Bravo Golf. All right. So the normal left downwind departure when you go to the north here. I'm pulling out in the middle of the runway, where I'm gonna stop right there, middle. I'm gonna stop, put my engine at about 2000 RPM, and start the pre-rotation process. You can hear the belt screaming, that's normal, as long as they don't scream too much. All right, now they're in sync. Engine RPM catching up, rotor RPM catching up, 190, 200, and let's go. Stick back. Initially, we have a drop in rotor RPM, but as we move forward, that drop disappears, and our rotor speed keeps increasing more and more. All right, the front wheel is white, full power, and we're airborne. All right, in the air. Very critical part of the flight. In the beginning, you don't know if your engine is still good to go. So keep it close. Something happens, just swoop down, and land. Uh, right now, everything is good. I'm gonna pull back on the power a little, and I'm headed straight ahead. Somewhere in the mist out there, in the haze, is the New Hope Pass. I can see it. I don't know if the camera catches it properly. All right. Now, as I go toward the pass, I need to stay below 3,000 feet because there is a Charlie Shelf section on top of us. I can climb to about 3,500, so I can go over the pass. Right now, the outside temperature is 23 degrees Celsius, and through the vents on the windows, it's the very nice cool air is rushing in and makes everything very pleasant. Much cooler than if you can see it from the camera, but the haze extends to about, I would say, 3,000, 3,500 feet, and then it gets fairly 120.4 for 2 Bravo Golf, thanks sir. All right, let's switch to the other control. Actually, I'm not going to even talk to them. I'm going to be listening to them in case there are airplanes from final for Van Nuys Airport. Those are usually so right now I'm at about 2,300 feet. We see the New Hope Pass right ahead of us. My current airspeed is about 85 knots. And to be honest with you, in a Clarita, that feels like nothing. I'm not even stressing it too much. It's just zooming. Now I pull back a little. On the ADS-B in front of us, I don't see any traffic through the pass. So again, that doesn't mean I'm gonna let my guard down. But then it's kind of like, oh, where are you gonna go? Left, right? And it's a little more stressful, but right now, it looks good. Also, if you're not, I know the haze is quite obnoxious, and maybe the quality of the video going through the haze is not as good as you want it to be, but that's typical for this area. Now some people call it pollution. Some experts say that the whole area here was not designed by Mother Nature to accommodate large populations. We managed to populate it fairly tightly. Alright, so I'm through the pass. I did not encounter any traffic to worry about, and I'm listening to the control center. They don't have any traffic coming. And I'm pretty low. I mean, their approach procedures keep them at about 5,000 at this area, and I'm down to 2,600. So that's plenty of cushion. So right over there is the amusement park, Six Flags, and I'm gonna head toward it because to the left of it is the entrance of the Santa Clara River Valley, which will take us to Santa Paula. And other than the haze, it's a very pleasant day. Not much wind, and maybe that's why we have the haze. So what usually happens in this area, especially right here, there would be, I call them wind events, but man, sometimes you'll be dealing with 40, 50 knot winds out here. And that altitude, it's disgusting. So obviously with days like this, we don't even consider flying. And I promise you, during those events, when the wind is howling, the air is crispy, crystal clear. Just because there is nothing that can stain it. Everything gets blown away. So, you can choose your poison. Do you want smooth air and haze? Or do you want crystal clear air and some strong winds? I'm not even going to have an opinion here because if it's not raining and if I can see blue skies, I'll fly. And here's, I'm going to give you some panoramic view. This is the Santa Clarita Valley. And right ahead of me is the amusement park, just right there. And then you can probably see in the haze the closer ridge, and then beyond it is the valley itself. So for those of you who keep track, right now I am at about 5,200 RPM on the engine, 87 knots true airspeed, 81 knots indicated airspeed. So you can imagine that thing is zooming through the air, and I'm at about 1,000 feet above the ground. And this is what 1,000 feet above the ground looks like. Now, how do I know I'm 1,000 feet above the ground? Well, right there on the GPS, it tells me 1,194 feet. Maybe there's a little error in the calculations of the GPS program, so let's call it 1,000 feet and be happy with that. So this is the amusement park right there. And looking at the parking lot and looking at the entrance, this place will be happening today. People will be flocking from far and wide, and hopefully they enjoy their day, because on a hot day like today, amusement park, water park, whatever they have here would be fantastic distraction for the kids. Of course, it's in the middle of summer now, and yep, it will be nice for them. So here we go. Right there is at the valley itself. We're going to follow it all the way to Santa Paula. Now, right down there, in that green stretch of land is the river itself, and I've seen it almost dry, and I've seen it raging like crazy immediately after the rains a couple months ago. So right now it's still bringing some residual snow melt from where it's coming from, and it's actually a good size for what this river usually is. And of course, all the vegetation around it is very happy. So that's what it is. Now, all of these hills just a month ago were green like they were in Switzerland. But being Southern California, green doesn't last too much. So now we are yellow, and that's why they call it the Golden State, because the hills get golden yellow in the summer. Plus the taxes are too high. Now I'm going to switch to the local training frequency 122775. Because this is a training area, and occasionally they'll do an aerobatic plane that will do some exercises, and they want to warn everybody what they're doing, so it's good for us to listen. So I've been flying before, not today. Today everything is very pleasant. But there have been times when I'm flying through this valley and I'm holding to the stick like my life depends on it. Because it gets so turbulent and the winds get so strong down the valley that at some point you actually even ask yourself, is it worth flying? But you know, a couple of times that I had to fly, I had the need to go to Santa Paula. Could I have waited? Yeah, probably. Did everything end up well in the end? Yeah. But so you as a pilot have to decide if something is taking some risk is worth taking. And nobody else can tell that. Not the tower, not the control centers, nobody. It's you're the one who decides that, and hopefully you have a sound judgment. Alright, so I'm going to go to about 2,000 feet here, so we can see closer down the valley. And in fact, there is a slope that goes from the amusement park, being the highest point in that lower ground, all the way to the ocean, which is ahead of us. So it's gradually sloping down to the beach, which is what, 0 elevation. Plus, this out here is not considered densely populated area, and I can be almost down to 500 feet above the ground. But you always have to keep in mind that gyroplanes have only about 3-to-1 glide ratio. So should I lose my engine? Well, yes, I can be low. Do I want to be low? Well, sometimes there are good things to see, interesting thing to see. The trees rushing on both sides of you is something very exciting. But from safety standpoint, again, you as a pilot in command have to decide if that low flying is worth the risk.
Now, if you're low flying over green fields and you lose your engine, you kind of land in the field and you damage some of the crops, that's not the end of the world. But if you're flying over more unforgiving terrain, then give yourself a little more altitude. That for me is important, and for every pilot, not just gyro pilot. That's something for them to decide how they want to treat that. Now, as they usually fly here, there are a couple of things to consider. Probably don't need to worry about them today, but one of the things is that as we are further inland, we are away from the influence of the ocean. But the areas adjacent to the ocean, they are really affected by the temperature of the difference between the water temperature and the ground temperature. So you have fog sometimes, you have what's called marine layer, cloud layer, which is about between 1,500 and 2,000 feet of fairly thick clouds that could extend about 5-6 miles from the ocean. And while we are happy and sunny and everything is fine for flying further inland, as you approach the ocean, make sure you check in advance that those airports are not under the marine layer. Some airports, in some cases, that marine layer is fairly low. And when it's low, it's IFR conditions. Do you want to deal with it? If you want to, go ahead. If you're rated, if your aircraft is rated, if you're current, go for it. Have fun. And other than the thin layer of clouds, there is really no other problems for flying. But if you're in a gyro, which is not IFR rated, if you are not IFR, and if your experience of flying is fairly limited, stay home, wait until noon when the marine layer usually disappears, and then go to that airport. So, by the way, you can see down there, this is how the river spills over the sandy bed. And there is, I'm telling you, there is plenty of water for the beginning of July. But we had a crazy wet year as well. So, yep. That river also scares a lot of these farmers because I haven't seen it go over its banks. But look how wide those banks are. You can imagine that there are cases when everything in sight of those confines is underwater and actually raging water, dragging logs and garbage and all kinds of stuff from further up. All right, I'm going to switch to Santa Paula on my other radio so I can see what's going on there. All right, so immediately there's somebody doing touch and goes. That's fine. Santa Paula is fairly busy because it's next to Camarillo, and Camarillo is controlled airport. So what do instructors do? Well, they take off from Camarillo, they go to Santa Paula, they do their touch and goes there. It's easier, it's faster. And then they go back to Camarillo for the night. And the reason they like to do that is because the runway is big enough, the environment is safe enough, not too crowded. And if you go to Camarillo, where it's tower controlled, boy, the other day there was somebody who was number 7 for landing. You can imagine that the queue was quite long to be lining up for landing and extending downwind, and that's not pleasant for training. I mean, it costs money for the student. There are not enough touch and goes in an hour. So just come to Santa Paula, do your training quickly, and then go back to Camarillo. So right ahead of us is the city of Fillmore. And the city of Fillmore is a local, I would say a local popular place, but it's a local town that is a few miles from Santa Paula. So by the time you reach Fillmore, you start thinking about talking to Santa Paula and announcing yourself. Also, local pilots know Fillmore very well, because if you ever had IFR training, instrument training in the area, few more VOR, it's right there on the hill. So everybody who ever tried or studied or practiced instrument approaches in the area knows that few more VOR very well. Again, for those of you keeping track of the engine and the configuration of the gyro, I don't know if you noticed, but I kind of settled in very pleasant cruise mode, and I'm at 5,000 RPM, 83 knots, 84 knots on the true airspeed, 80 knots on the indicated airspeed. I'm keeping it at about 1,500 feet MSL, which is about 8 to 900 feet above ground, and very pleasant right now. The air rushing through the vents is cool, so that keeps me well ventilated. And I know some of you are probably thinking, oh man, this stick shakes a lot. Okay, let me just put everybody at ease. I'm not going to talk about it. That question has been asked and answered many times in other comments. So go see the other videos. I'm addressing that issue. Suffice to say, right now the flying is pleasant. All right? And here's few more for you guys. It's growing. Look at it. This is all new construction here. And that wasn't here about a year ago, a couple years ago. So they're growing. And I think the allure of towns like this is because Los Angeles is really getting, I wouldn't say overpopulated, but it's getting ridiculously expensive and crowded from it's just too many people. And if you look at that hill over there, so Santa Paula airport is right there somewhere. In fact, I can see it in the haze, and in a minute, I'll talk to them and tell them that I am over Fillmore and inbound for full stop landing. Actually, maybe I'll do a couple of touch and goes. Just for good measure. It's always fun. Alright, so I'm going to talk to Santa Paula right now. Let me switch the frequency. Santa Paula traffic, green gyro over Fillmore, inbound for the up left wind, and then downwind for 22 Santa Paula. It's actually, I mean, people were complaining. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but all of a sudden I entered a hazy area here, much stronger haze than what I had before. But not enough to ruin the visibility, the safe visibility. So what I was trying to say is that when the mandate for ADSB out came, it obviously cost lots of money, and lots of people were resistant. And there's some privacy advocate that say, hey, you know, now everybody knows where you are. Well, if you're flying, what are you hiding, right? So right now, the guy saying, the guy is saying his call sign. I can see him right there on my GPS. I can see his call sign, so I can put his voice to what's happening on the screen, and that's very reassuring for traffic purposes. Well, so the airport is somewhere there. I can see it. I just actually see the airplane just landed. It's a white spot on a darker runway. So as I approach the airport, I need to force myself to switch between cruise mode and landing mode. And landing mode is more like, let's go down to 55 knots. Let's be nimble on controls, because, you know, when you're close to the ground, when you're making sharper turns, you need to be more agile. And in cruise mode, you're more like, let's maintain the speed, let's make sure you're straight and level, and that's it. So those are two different feelings, and it's good for you as a pilot to distinguish between both on time. Santa Paula traffic, green gyro on the east edge of town, inbound. We take left downwind, left upwind for 22 Santa Paula. And right there is the ocean. That big gray muggy thing, that's the ocean. Oh, I'm gonna slow down now. Santa Paula traffic, green gyro, beam the numbers from upwind 22. We have departing traffic inside. And you can see the traffic is over there. I have them inside. It's very nice. It's a white airplane on a green background. Santa Paula traffic, green gyro turning from left upwind to left crosswind, runway 22 behind the white Cessna, Santa Paula. All right, let's turn here. We are far away from all of the interaction with takeoff airplanes, the takeoff or the landing ones. We also keep a good eye out, GPS plus visual, and we listen on the radio. So here's the white Cessna over there. We're gonna follow it, give them some room so they can land. Santa Paula traffic, green gyro turning left crosswind, left downwind for 22, following the white Cessna, Santa Paula. I'm gonna slow down, baby, slow down here. And I'm higher than everybody,
but that gives me also that flexibility of slowing down, trading some altitude for speed. Airplane holding short on 2-2. You can take off after the white Cessna. I'll wait for you. Santa Paula traffic, green gyro turning left base 2-2. We have the departing traffic inside. Santa Paula. Alright, so we played nice. We allowed one guy to take off before we land, which doesn't affect us too much. Plus, it's good to be a good neighbor, you know. People remember that kind of stuff. Santa Paula traffic, green gyro turning left base short final 2-2, departing traffic inside Santa Paula. Alright, so I'm gonna put the power and just descend a little. Santa Paula is at 250 feet. So we have plenty of, alright, we're descending nicely. As we get a little lower, I'm gonna drop the nose, get my airspeed because I need my airspeed to land safely. And alright, that wasn't too bad. Alright, full power. Balance the wheel, balance the wheel, balance the wheel. And we're airborne. Yes, I will just depart. Santa Paula traffic, green gyro turning left crosswind 22 Santa Paula. Got it. Santa Paula traffic, turning left downwind 22, traffic inside Santa Paula. I love touching goes, guys. It's fun. Santa Paula traffic, green gyro turning left base 22 Santa Paula. Santa Paula traffic, green gyro turning left base, short final 22, traffic inside. And that's how we do it, guys. All right, more power. And we're airborne. Santa Paula traffic, green gyro departed 22, turning left crosswind, left downwind 22, Santa Paula. Santa Paula traffic, green gyro turning left base, short final behind departing Cessna runway 22, Santa Paula. Oh, come on, come on. All right, we're airborne again. There's a Cessna ahead of us, so Santa Paula traffic, green gyro just departed 22. We'll follow the white Cessna around the pattern, Santa Paula. Bonanza, okay, I have insight. I'll turn behind you, green gyro. Go ahead, I'm not factor to you. I have insight. Santa Paula traffic, green gyro turning left downwind behind the Bonanza, Santa Paula. All right, guys. Santa Paula traffic, green gyro, just over the paintball course behind the Bonanza, Santa Paula. Santa Paula traffic, green gyro behind the Bonanza, still on downwind. We have visual of all of you guys. Santa Paula. Thanks, sir. Santa Paula traffic, green gyro turning final behind the Bonanza, Santa Paula. That was interesting, huh? Santa Paula traffic, green gyro, short final 2-2 behind the Bonanza, Santa Paula. Santa Paula traffic, green gyro just departed 2-2, staying in the traffic, Santa Paula. Santa Paula traffic, green gyro turning left crosswind 2-2, Santa Paula. Santa Paula traffic, green gyro turning left downwind 2-2, Santa Paula, Navy on inside. Santa Paula traffic, green gyro turning left crosswind, shown final 2-2 full stop, Santa Paula. Santa Paula traffic, green gyro, clear of the active Santa Paula. Alright guys, we landed. So now that I'm trying to stop the rotor, I may get a little quiet here. So I hope you enjoyed the adventure. Maybe I'll connect on the way back. If not, I'll see your comments and respond. And please welcome to the next adventure, whenever that is. Talk to you soon, guys. And thank you for watching.